Hey, welcome to another episode of Electrical Theology Esoteric Coaching. And appreciate you showing up, all my galactic brothers and sisters, and my Earth brothers and sisters, and friends, and my galactic brothers and sisters, and my Earth friends and families, and all that good stuff. Guys, appreciate you showing up. New to the channel, this is a channel about esoteric, helping you to understand, communicate, interpret cosmic information. Right? We get downloaded with information every day, and a lot of us don't. We think it's a voice inside our head, or it's just our subconscious, or a fleeting thought. This is the divine's always trying to communicate with us, or our ancestors trying to communicate with us. I've talked on videos before that, let's say your left ear rings at a certain tone, that could be your mother's side of the family. The right ear rings is probably your father's side of the family. Now, once you go up into the divine realms, not the ancestors, but the divine realms, then the left ear is the divine realms, the divine realms, angelic, astral, etheric, all that good stuff, dimensionals, and the right ear would be your ancestors. So each time you go up, the ringing, and again, the ringing is just one example of how they're trying to get your attention. Divine numbers always showing up, 222, 333, 777, whatever this may be for you. So when we do the tarot is our link to communicate, a focused session so that we can hear, see, taste, touch what they're wanting us to understand. I always gave an example of, and I borrowed this from Susan Day's book back in the day. She was also a clairsentient, and she gave this great example. And if you're standing on the beach and there's a storm coming in, describe that. Now, I use this in my classes for decades, and the whole idea behind that for me, hers was different, mine, but it was a great example, so I used to. It was to tell me what senses people would use, which ones are online to interpret or receive divine information or ancestral information. And part of the downloads that I was And so when I had my students or classes or clients, write this out in a story, if you will, a small paragraph, it would tell me immediately that most people only use the sight and hearing. They don't necessarily describe what they're writing with smell or taste or feelings. Feelings sort of a third. But most people, when they describe or they're telling the story, they'll say, yeah, you see what I'm saying? Or do you hear what I'm saying? Or sometimes you'll hear people refrain back and say, I feel you. I feel what you're saying. I get you. Right? These are the ways we can understand how people receive information. And so when I do tarot readings, I try to bring in all five senses. And again, there are more senses than just five. That's just the basics. But what we'll do today is just sort of practice, and I will bring a reading in for the general population, and those who do watch me, I'll get direct hits and messages that I'll say, hey, this is a direct hit for one of you out there. Right? And normally what we can do is different types of readings. Now, different spreads just basically depend on what it is that you want to focus on. So for an example, I can lay out 7 cards. Right? Now this 7 can be for many different things. You can see those okay. Bear with me. So there's 7. Now I can use the 7, but I had to have already laid that intention. Again, I'm in 10 ions or pyramidal fire energy, right? The pyramid energy. And that's just you focus, your mother, your father, you is all focused energetically to create this antenna that gives you the ability to communicate and talk with or communicate with those on the other sides, whatever the other sides are. Now, we've already talked about being able to communicate and be open with yourself and face what it is that you need to face, right? You can still do what you want. You can still do your own divine calling, even when you're going through your own stuff. That's what helps you get through your own stuff, is practicing this stuff, so you will see your own messages within it. That makes sense, guys? Good. So from here over, this could be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I can do a complete reading at the start of the month, right? Or even a week before this week, right? I can use this as chakras, right? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. I can look at this as my pituitary hypothalamus. I can look at this as my pineal gland, parathyroids, heart, lungs. You see what I'm saying? I can break it down whatever I want, but whatever I'm about to do a reading on, then I focus. And focusing is just tuning into a frequency like you tuning into a radio station. No different, right? We're just doing it with our instrument instead of an artificial instrument. Make sense? So we can say, so next Monday, it's going to start off. And again, when I'm focused on this, or when you focus on your spread and what it means and what sevens, right? And this is a 7-card reading, so it could be multiple things. Again, you have to decide what you want. But I can say, okay, I want to know what the financial markets are going to be on Monday. Right? This can be a financial, again, 3 things: health, wealth, or love. This will be a wealth interpretation. So I may want to know what the stock market is for every day. So then that can help me invest, right? Amongst I'm doing my study, I just don't just rely on this. It has to validate what I'm already picking up. Sometimes I'm picking up different mixed signals, and then I lay a spread, and then it gives me the details of which I'm not seeing. And then I can make a decision. So I need right brain, left brain, heart and mind together. And I do a reading in all 5 senses. So again, we start off with Monday. Monday is going to be 8 of Cups. 8 of Cups is more associated with failure or some sort of dropping in the market. So Monday, I'm not going to be surprised if I see a drop in the stock market by a bunch of points. Right? Now, there could be a rally at the start, but then at the end of the day is what I'm looking for. Did I go up or down on my investment? Right? Monday, Tuesday, actually, I got to back y'all up because some people start their week on Monday. Traditionally, it's on Sunday. So let's go Sunday. You're going to have some failures, right? It's going to be a hard time. Something that because the stock market's closed, but the crypto markets are open. So we can say the crypto market's going to have a drop by end of day, right? So Monday, on the other hand, it's about riches. So because of that drop on the crypto market and what's going on in the world, we can see a rally in the stock market, right? A big rally, right? Now this will be a false, or what they call a dead cat bounce, right? It means it goes down and it bounces back up, and that's what I think this is. It's going to be a dead cat bounce. It's going to bounce up, but then it's going to drop by the end of the day. But you can get in, make some money, and then get out. And then Tuesday, we have to be open, right, to receive. And look at not just necessarily the stock market, but again, you could be in other investments. So in one sense, this is the Daughter of Cups. And so what that's going to do is help you stay connected to what's going on. I know some of it because I'm using finances, some of you aren't in finances, but let's just make this simple, right? We can read your chakras, right? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet, right? And then I can get a reading off of each one of these. Again, that's just one example. But to start off a reading, then we just use the same deck because we don't want to repeat the same cards. And let's say we want to know, now these cards all flopped up. When I have cards flop up, those are trying to get my attention, so I'm going to give them my attention. Now, because I'm already doing stuff in my head while I'm talking to you, I'm looking at different things. So this is a 4-card spread, so I can look up 4 cards this way. So I can see right immediately. And how do I want to set this up? I can say what's coming in, what's going out, right? What's hanging over my head, and sort of what's underneath me. Right? What are my underlying thoughts? What are sort of my rote rehearsal, my egoic thoughts, my past traditional thoughts, right? Stuff from the past. This is all about the bottom, the past. And this, the front is all what's coming in, is on the higher realms. Now you have to go back and watch some of my episodes about the higher realms of consciousness, because this is coming in from the higher realms. This is coming in from the earth realm. That makes sense? So heaven realms and all the realms we talked about, divine, angelic, all that stuff, guys. And then I can see sort of what's behind me and what's going to come out of this. Right? So I can lay whatever spread I want. So I can see the foundation of me is perception, which means I'm open. Right? Let's see if we can get that up there. You can see that money's coming in. Right? Money had been coming in from the past, and it may not be coming in now for you. There may be some restrictions, and that's why we're sort of looking at the financial to give us an idea of what the next week looks financially for you. And again, you can just say, hey, am I going to make extra money? I need some money. Is there money coming in? Whatever this question is for you. Because in the past, because of this way of doing things in the past with the money, and that's not here anymore, you're concerned about what you do next in your life. And this is where the thought up top comes in, of what's coming in and how we want to control that. Yesterday we talked about that. We can flip the script. We can reframe what we're thinking by throwing in a card that we want to think. And if we don't know what to think, we can throw the cards out until we see a card that we like that goes, yeah, I want that. And then we put that thought into motion. Well, here, what's behind you as well is that you've been putting in a lot of mental thinking here, and it's just all conflicting, right? Because you put an end to this job, this relationship, whatever, and now you have a lot of thoughts about that. But we need to look and understand, and what is upside down, right, is the Two of Wands. And the Two of Wands, because it's upside down, is normally two things come together. It could be this choice or that choice. It could be two people joining together, right? And what's coming in, your thought could be like, okay, I want to join something. I want to create something, right? It's you and something else, or someone else. And so you're looking, and wands are about creativity, right? Wands are pretty fast in the speed of things happening. And so this thing that coming in, yesterday's video is about things are going to happen quickly, right? We talked about global stuff that's going to happen quickly that we're going to sit back in and observe because we've already prepared for what's coming because we saw what's coming. But Two of Wands is that we haven't made the choice yet. So we got to have clarity on the choice we're about to make. And what that choice is about, what are we going to do creatively? Right? Because we put an end to something in the past, right? And we have conflict about that. We got to work through some of our stuff. And this is all mental right now, right? And the past is mental. Right? We were making money in the past, and now we don't have that same money coming in, so now we have this conflict about what do we do next. So what we're doing next is we've got to make a choice, right? It's got to be a creative choice. But it's upside down, so it's not on yet. It's not in line yet. And so the outcome of this reading, if you see it, right, it's the Nine of Cups. It's fortune, but it's upside down, right? Because the card up here is upside down, which means the light's not turned on yet. The energy's not here yet, right? You haven't flipped that script in your head yet with this conflict from the past. So whatever mental things you're going through right now, know that you're still focused on the past, right? You're still focused on what you did make, how you made it, right? When I shut down my businesses, yeah, I can sit there and focus on it all day long of how much I used to make. Again, money's just energy. So I was open to bringing in this much energy. But now that I'm not bringing in that energy in the way which I brought it in, the thoughts came in, what do I want to do next? Right? And so I did a lot of mental thinking. But part of this process is opening the heart so we can get away in our stories that we tell about the storm coming in. And so in essence, there's a storm coming in. Storms are fun. We used to go out and play in the yard all the time. It's just when lightning strikes that you have to be careful, right? And lightning is about the strike here, guys. And so you have to make a choice, right? Make a dominant choice. Right? And you notice that light, the light, all up in there, shooting a bird there, the light's all up there, right? It's coming in, but right now it's turned off because it's giving you time to go, okay, what is it you really want to do in life? And we can say, okay, well, we've been thinking about this, but we don't know what to do. So what I can do is we'll take the other deck. I have a lot of decks, I just don't put them on screen right now because it's still the basics for some of y'all, so I don't want to give you 50 decks and they confuse you. Well, what deck is that? What deck is that? And then go out and try to buy them. You just keep it simple for now, guys, right? Because the more complicated you make this one with 50 decks, that's 50 thoughts. All I'm doing is giving you 2 basic thoughts right now. Does that make sense? On or off, do it or don't, right? It's a choice, and that's what this thing is about. So we can get clarity on this, right? And I can say, okay, what thoughts do I need to think to have this choice be made? Right? So what do I need to think? And what choice do I need to make in order to have this open to the 9 of Cups? The 9 of Cups is a great card. It's like celebrate, party. It's done. You did it. Right? But what do we do in the meantime? We don't know what that is. Right? So we can throw a card in between there. Again, I get 2 of Cups. Right? This is a brilliant card. The 2 of Cups is that you have to be open and receive. And this has to do about a relationship. I think the relationship is going to help you understand what it is you're going to do next in life. Right? Your next occupation. Occupation is occupy ion. So how are we going to take up space in space on Earth? If that makes sense. So we definitely have to, I see a relationship coming in for a lot of y'all. This relationship, because we're thinking of thoughts, right? Swords are always thoughts, cognitive, all that good stuff. That you need to break from that thinking, that overthinking, right? And then open up. And this partner can be a love partner, intimate partner, business partner. It can be someone from the past, right? Cups are all about reception. But let's say we want more information about that cups. Right? Let's throw another card down about it. It's 4 of Cups. 4 of Cups is about the guy, he's not paying attention. He's looking at all the things around him and none of them are bringing him joy. Right? And this 2 of Cups is upside down. So it's saying that you have to then focus on being open. Right? Are you open to receiving what it is you're wanting to receive? Because in the past, you're still focused on the past about how things were, how that relationship was, how that partnership was. But it's not here anymore. I don't care if it's good, bad, or indifferent. It's not here anymore. You have to move on. And we resist moving on because it's new, it's unfamiliar. Right? We have to get back to work again. Right? So let's see what the difference is that we can turn this on. Right? So what do we need to do to turn this, take dominion over our decision? Right? And that's the moon. Right? So the moon is all about your hopes and dreams or your fears or nightmares. Right? And so this goes back to your dream. Now, your dream, a lot of us, if you're like me at all, we dream many things, not only in our dreams, but we dream about doing many things, but not necessarily one thing. Right? We can do something that has 4 or 5 things within that one thing. Right? You can play football, or you could be a coach, or you could be a statistician, or you can be a manager. So there's many things you can do. So and this has to do more with Cancerians, and I'm not going to get too much into the astrology, but it's about cancers. And this is made specifically for some of those who are watching that are Cancerians. You may be focused on your dream or overcomplicating the decisions you have to make, right? Sometimes we think our dreams are supposed to be Hollywood style, but sometimes it can be very simple, right? If you're tired of people, you may just want a dog walk, because the dogs don't talk back necessarily to us. But we sort of get off the path here. So let's see what we need to do once we turn this on. What's our next step? Right? And again, you notice all these cards I randomly shuffle, and I do upside down because it's verse or reverse or inverse. And so the card that we just pulled was 10. Right? So we have the 9 of Cups, which is celebration. 10 of Cups is all about the money's coming in. Right? So if you're worried about the money, you're still thinking about past stuff. Right? You're still thinking about, well, I don't have it now. Right? Do I have to have faith, trust, belief? Not in anything external, only in internal. And you have to understand what each of those words mean. Faith is, I know that there's an unseen process happening that I'm just, my cognition just doesn't have privy to, or my 5 senses don't. It makes sense? But I know something's happening. Right? Just like if you get mail every day, be it email or snail mail, right? And you get a packaging business, there's packages coming in. You put the order in, and it's going to be here. Now, sometimes it gets here a day late, but it's still going to get here, right? Do I need to have faith in that company? No. I just need to understand its strategies, right? I need to know when it says it's going to be here on Tuesday, it shows up on Tuesday. That's not faith. That's stats, right? So that's faith for me. Belief is that I have belief in myself that is this the dream I want? And if it's not, I can change it. I can reframe it at any given time. Right? So let's get more information about the dream that's going to bring us a lot more money that then we can celebrate, because these are all off right now. But the energy's not turned on because the electricity hasn't gotten there yet, because we haven't brought it in. We haven't made the choice to make it happen. Right? So what specifically, is there something that can tell us about the dream? Right? The dream is family, and it's upside down when it came into me. It's about having stability. Right? 10 of Cups is all about the joy of family. Right? And again, this because we're up there in the relationship of 2 of Cups in the relationship. When we get the dream, there could be you dreaming about having stability within a family system. Does that make sense? About belonging and joining. And let's just throw one more. Again, upside down. Right? Judgment. Judgment card is right before the World card, which is a complete cycle. Judgment card is, not only is it what it says it is, it's judged, but what it is your internal judgment about yourself and how it affects the outside world. Right? Opposite that of the Hermit. So we need to start tooting our own horn, whatever that is. If you've been shy, if you're resistant, if you're not speaking up for yourself, it's time to speak up. It's time to tell the world what your dream is, and then get other people on board with it. Right? If they don't, that's fine. That's up to them. Right? But what do we need to do specifically to turn on to get that 2 of Wands coming in to make that decision? What decision do we need to make about money? Right? So I can throw the finances in. And again, strength. We've got to have strength. Notice the females is the heart, the lion, the ions, the mind. So the feminine or the heart has to be open in order to receive the dominance or the dominion, right, that we talked about. Is this making sense to some of y'all? I know I'm all over the place, but this is the beginning again of doing readings. I'm going to be doing readings every day, but I want to just give examples. These are examples of layouts and spreads, and that's what I'm doing on Wednesdays here. It's just giving you an example that you can lay out any spread you want. Right, I'll do an ancestor spread and find out genetically what has to be altered in your life or the predispositions to change that. Right? We can get into details of stuff here. Right? We can get in and lay it of what's happening in your car. Right? If you're having issues in the car, you can flip. Right? And we showed the grid before, the 9 grid. That gives us an idea of where we may not know what it is because we may not be a mechanic, that we could say, hey, there's something happening in the car and it has to deal with the water element. Right? So there's a lot of things we can do and a lot of things we can have fun with. And so what I want to sort of do, I see what's coming. There's abundance coming to those who are doing their work. who are finally getting out of their mind about still focusing on something from the past that's not here anymore. And so I want to sort of sum up all this reading by putting a card in the middle. Right? What's in the center here, the heart? And so what I have here is 7 of Wands, which is upright. So you fought a lot of battles. You're defending, right? So the creative stuff is you may be trying to defend to other people about doing your dream, right? And you have to ask yourself, why are you defending? Right? Are you trying to convince yourself? Right? And that may be part of the process. If it is, then stand up for yourself and go, you know what, this is what I want. You know, I had to do this argument, I had to do this battle with this other person because I needed to hear it for myself that this is what I really want. Right? And other people are going to have to be okay with me doing this. If they're not, that's fine. The old has to go. Right? The old has to go. So, and basically what I'm getting from the whole reading is that there's old stuff you're holding on to, and we got to release that stuff in order to open up. Now, there's no bad or good timing. What I'm sort of impressing, though, is that things are about to change, and these global changes that are about to happen very fast. Are you ready? Mentally, emotionally, psychically, right? Are you ready to take on your next steps? Because when this happens, there may be a thing where you're like, oh crap, I just have to go do this, right? And I know some, for y'all, there may be financial tightness, but what I'm seeing in the future is that it loosens up a little bit. Again, between the 24th of October and November 6th, you're going to see a lot of fun chaos happening in the financial system. And are you prepared? And if your business closes down, or you can't keep it running, or whatever this may be, or you change jobs, there's a new thing happening here, and you're going to have to make a decision really quick and say, okay, no, I don't want to stay with the business anymore, or I want to go start my own business, whatever this may be for you, or this new relationship. All right, guys, I think that's a good example today. I know I'm sort of all over the place, but I'm just giving you the examples of how we can do reading. So not only is this how we can do reading and how to do different spreads, and if you have any comments of different spreads you want to do or have me do, I'll do a specific reading. So if you do leave me a comment and say, hey, I want to know about this, I'll do that. And then through the video is I'll focus on you. I won't say names or anything like that, but I'll say there's someone here who's doing this. Okay? And I see this pattern. Right? So that's going to be about do it today, guys. I appreciate it. Thumbs up, likes, share it with your friends if this was helpful to you at all. If you got one thing out of it, then share that thing with other people. All right? That's what this is about, is sharing who you are uniquely to the world and being of service. Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow.